Good morning. Welcome to St. Mike's. It's good to have our guests here. Welcome. So in a few minutes, all of us here will stand and we will profess our creed, written in the year 325. And the very last line of the creed is what? I feel like Alex Trebek. We say this every Sunday. We're like, I believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty, right? It says, we look for the resurrection of the dead and we look for the resurrection of the dead and life. What does that mean? Is it like the zombie apocalypse or something? Like what does that mean? We look for the resurrection of the dead. Well, that's what Jesus is talking about in the gospel. Second coming. Whatever you want to call it, it's the resurrection of the dead. That all the dead will rise. It's pretty amazing to think about. So, maybe a little history. In the year 1927, a Protestant, a Catholic, and a Jewish man were getting together. And they were friends. The Catholic, his name was Monsignor George Lamette. He was the priest that came up with the Big Bang Theory. So one of the things that he said, you may have heard me talk about him before, one of the things that he said was 14 billion years ago, the entire universe was smaller than an atom. And there was so much heat in this little atom, it just exploded. Billions and billions and billions of miles in every direction, right? And then his friend, very dear friend actually, Albert Einstein, the Jewish one, developed his theory of relativity, which fit lock and key in that. And then their friend, the Protestant, Edwin Hubble, who came up with this thing we call the Hubble telescope, that very same time realized that we are not surrounded by one galaxy as was thought at the time, but there are billions and billions and billions and billions of galaxies, and in each one of those billions of galaxies there's billions and billions and billions of stars. What's the name of our galaxy? Milky Way. Do you know that there's over 400 billion stars just in our galaxy? Only ours. There's over 400 billion stars. There's over 2 trillion galaxies. Okay, let's put this in context. There's a galaxy out there, it's called Abell 2029, A2029, you should look it up. In Abell 2029, they estimate in that one galaxy, there's well over 100 trillion stars. Wow. Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's amazing to think about this, yeah? This is why maybe you've heard me say this before, but scientists now estimate that there's well over more stars in the universe than there are grains of sand on all the shores of the world. And yet, everybody here has a totally different fingerprint. Isn't that funny? God is big and God is small. Our first pope, 267 popes ago, it was who? St. Peter. He says in 2 Peter that one day all of the universe, everything, all the stars will go away. Catholics believe at the second coming of Jesus, 4 things will end. Death. All death will cease to be. Time. We judge time by the birth of Christ. It's 2025. When Jesus comes back again, time will cease. Purgatory. Everyone in purgatory will go to heaven. And finally, the sun, the moon, the stars, the entire cosmos as we know it will cease to exist. Do you know that stars are born and stars die when they run out of energy? They're born and they die. What else is born and dies? Us. So if stars are born and they die, and we are born and we die, what makes us different from stars? What do we have that they don't? A soul. We are immortal. That's the difference. You know what that means? You and I will one day see the entire universe cease to exist. I'm not making this up. It's what we believe. Because we're mortal. They are not. That's what St. Peter says. That's what we believe. It's in our doctrine. Wow. This is amazing. This is what Jesus is talking about, right? We look for the resurrection of the dead. They will all rise, including us, in the life eternal, forever. So, what about what Jesus says? Do you know this is in all four of the Gospels, the second coming? Matthew chapter 25. Let's talk about that one. You know that one. The separation of the sheep and the goats, right? Works out great for the sheep, not so much for the goats. All right? Trust me, we want to be in the sheep group, not the goat group. So this is what happens if you're not familiar. Jesus says, and I'm quoting here, he says, "The Son of Man," i.e. me, he says, "will come again with all the angels at the end of time, and we will judge everyone. There's nothing hidden that will not be revealed, nor whispered in secret that will not be known. Everything we have done will be on full display." Everything, Father, everything. Okay? Like, we're all going to see it. Good news is Jesus is totally merciful. So one of the things he says, the separation of the sheep and the goats, if you don't remember anything from that passage, please remember what I'm about to tell you. There's 5 words we should remember from Matthew 25. It goes like this. "You did it unto me. What you did to the least of these, yeah, you did it to me." Oh, Jesus, look, we were out, we did this and this and this, and we were saved and born again and accepted Jesus as our Lord and Savior. We were talking about it. And Jesus says, really? Really? Because, like, I was hungry and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty and you didn't care. Your mom was alone and you never went to go see her. Well, I didn't see you, Jesus. I would have helped you. And he says, what you failed to do for them, you failed to do for me. Welcome to the goat group. Here's my point. God has tied our eternal salvation to how we treat other people. That in a nutshell is Christianity. Everyone wants to get to heaven, but nobody wants to die. It doesn't work that way. You want to get to heaven, you got to treat people right. By the way, that's 7 of the 10 commandments. It's in all throughout the Our Father. Give us this day our daily bread as we forgive those, blah, blah, blah. You know the point. You got to treat people right. That means that if I'm of this political party and they're of a different, I may not like them. I may think they're crazy. But I have to pray for them and treat them with respect. From whom much has been given, much will be expected, Jesus says. He expects more from us. And he will expect more from us. So, let's keep this simple, Father. You feel, by the way, your brain is coming out of your ears? I mean, it's a lot, right? Right? So let's keep this simple. You and I, everybody here, we're going to go through 3 stages in our existence per Christian doctrine. We go through 3 stages in our existence. We are now in stage 1. It goes like this. Stage 1, we're body and soul together, like 2 lungs that breathing together. We're now body and soul. Everybody here has it. It's a lot of souls. When we die, we go through the doorway of death, and it is a doorway, in which case the body is separated from the soul. Soul goes to heaven, hopefully. Body is now in the hospital or the morgue or cemetery. That's stage 2. Stage 3 is what Jesus is talking about. Stage 3, we say in the Creed, we look for the resurrection of the body and life everlasting. They're super glued back together again, body and soul in heaven, for all eternity. That's a long time, buddy. 3 stages. This is why it's important we get it right. You know, I often joke that the first place Jesus is going to go when he comes back again is Washington, D.C. Some people got some explaining to do. Second place, Las Vegas. And he'll be like, yeah, what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas. I saw that whole thing. I saw that. Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You ever seen that bumper sticker, Jesus is coming, look busy, right? I mean, it helps look busy. So what that means for us is, look, we don't have to like these people. But I have to pray for you, and I have to make sure that I am doing what I can to help those in need. Can we do it? No, we can't help everybody. But we can do something for somebody. It's a parable of the rich man and Lazarus. What got the rich man in trouble was not because he was rich. There's nothing wrong with that. What got him in trouble was his apathy. It says he stepped over him. That's what got him in trouble. We don't want to end up in the goat group. Doesn't end well for them. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we are doing what we can. Maybe just for one person. So I'll close with this. Maybe you can help me. What's the first book of the Bible? Genesis. What does the word Genesis mean? Beginning. What's the last book of the Bible? How many books of the Bible are there in the Catholic Bible? 46, 27, 73. 46 old, 27 new, 73 total. So if we have the book of Genesis, the very first, the book of Revelation, the very end, we have these 2 bookends. Does anybody know there's 2 trees that we hear about by name in the book of Genesis? Anybody know what they are in the Garden of Eden? So the tree of good and evil, which represents Adam and Eve's our free will. You can choose. The tree right next to it is called the tree of life, represent our immortality. If Adam and Eve had never sinned, they'd still be alive. You know what's interesting? That's mentioned in the first book of the Bible. If you turn to the last chapter of the last book of the Bible in Revelations 22, you're going to hear about that exact same tree. The tree of life is mentioned at the beginning, and it's mentioned at the very end. Why a tree? Well, it's pretty simple, really. What Adam and Eve lost in immortality, Jesus regained for us. That's what it says. We will be in these bodies forever. Get comfy. This is good news. This is good news. This is why Christianity is so amazing. Because in a nutshell, what it means is, look, God has this incredible plan for us. It's what we celebrate on Easter Sunday. This is amazing news. What eye has not seen, ears not heard, it's not so much as dawned on human beings what God has planned for them, says St. Paul. It's good news, something to be very proud of. With that in mind, please stand, let's profess our faith.